Hello, I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. A new academic year is underway at Missouri Southern, and it's time to take a look with traditional interview with the president, Dr. Alan Marble. Thank you for being here today.
It's great to be here, Judy. Thanks.
Your feelings as this new year gets underway?
It's a pretty exciting year, I think. You know, we have enrollments up, the faculty are back on campus, and we have some new buildings that are opening. It's just a great time to be here.
And you have a lot of students here on the campus.
You know, we do. And check the parking lot. It's kind of tough to find a place to park, and I understand all the parking problems. We're hearing about those daily.
Right.
It's a good problem to have. We'll figure that out.
Right. Well, I know a lot of things took place the first week of school. We have some video that kind of captures the feeling of everybody coming back. We had special events for freshmen, for the members of the community maybe who didn't get out here to get to see it while we're talking. I thought we'd like to roll some of that video showing some of the first week activities. I know you were involved in a lot of these as well as we welcome students to campus. So if we can see that video and talk about it. I know freshmen are a big emphasis. Let's start off with you say we have large enrollment. We also have the largest freshman class.
Oh, we do. This is the largest first year entering class that we've had in the history of the campus. So we're real excited about that, and we know that that's the start of the next several years. You see here at the campus craze. You can look at all the people there. My goodness, right. It's a lot of fun outside, enjoying the beautiful weather. We've just really been blessed with some terrific weather. Oh, and there's Rory.
Rory there to greet everybody as well.
Making his appearance at the craze. Ice cream's a favorite around here. You'll see that theme 2 or 3 times through here. There's a convocation where we welcomed all the first-year students, and you see how many are there. A few couldn't probably even make it. But that's a great ceremony that we do there to get students started off right. They get a medal. The medal has a green ribbon on it. Then when they graduate, they can change that to a gold ribbon and wear it at graduation. Also throw a penny, pennies for pride over their shoulders in the fountain at the alumni house.
The first day of school is a big picnic for everyone.
Oh, yeah, we have a big picnic. That was a great time. We try to do as many things as possible to connect with students as early as possible. There's a climbing wall. Judy, is that you?
I can say that's not me, but I know the students were having fun that day. And like I say, it was a great weather day. And really, it's a campus, the community comes together. So you go to the picnic, you see faculty, staff, and students, everybody.
Oh, absolutely. The community participates. And then the ice cream, that's my favorite, the ice cream social. But this year, I didn't even get a bite of ice cream. It was all gone.
So you had a good turnout.
We got to meet a lot of students and had a great time. Yeah, we had a great turnout.
And imagine from the president's perspective, do you really enjoy that fact that you get to meet the students face to face?
Yeah, I do. The students are what it's all about. And here's the community day where people came in and set up, and it was just a terrific success. Yeah, it's all about students here at Missouri Southern, as you can tell from the pictures.
Right, the students are enjoying it. Community Day, you're talking about, you see organizations, banks, companies coming to Southern to let the students be welcome to the Joplin community.
Yeah, we had 100 and some participants. I don't remember how many exactly. And then Survivor Night, they just go out and have a good time. So we just try to get linked up with the students as quickly as possible.
So really plenty to do that first week on the campus.
Plenty to do. It's lots of fun. It kind of keeps you young.
Right. And of course, this year we have more students living on campus because you have new residence halls finished.
We do. We opened the quads. That's kind of what we're referring to them now. There are room for 202 students and 4 private, really, bedroom suites. It's full kitchens, beautiful place. It's a great place.
And this is something that has been in the works for a couple of years, and it's being paid through the bonds that he's paying it off.
We issued bonds that will pay them off, and we based that on about 70% occupancy to have some cushion. But they sold out in 40 minutes, the first 40 minutes. So we've got plenty of coverage there. We're in good shape.
Definitely something the students wanted.
No doubt about that. They'd like that. We're already hearing that they'd like to have some more, but I've got to let Rob Used to have a breather. I think he's probably
It takes a while to go through those programs and get those set up.
It's tough.
Well, you mentioned new facilities. There's a lot visible on campus. Not only that, but the athletic complex has some new facilities for athletes.
Early in the spring, we opened the baseball stadium, the Warren Turner Field. And the baseball team had a great season, won 40 games and did a great job. It's an all-turf field, seats 700 to 1,000 people. It's just a fantastic facility. The new end zone facility will be opening it this fall. Got our first home football game September 3rd, so we'll see how we do. And they were just real excited about that. Brand new turf on the field. So.
And those athletic complex and the turf, those were paid through contributions. So the
everything, through donations, which is really, that's a source of pride that the community wants to rally around us in that fashion, and probably contributes to our enrollment increase, frankly.
And people seeing that support from the community.
People get energized.
Now, this isn't the only thing that's happening at Southern. You have a lot of projects in the works. Reynolds Hall's on that list. I know the governor's been talking about capital improvements around the state, and the state is helping make some improvements here on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. Reynolds Hall has been on the the top of the list for Missouri Southern since before I worked here. I remember seeing the list, and it was always on there. And it really does. It does need the overhaul that we intend to provide. The labs are just have been used a lot, and they've become dated. The governor did provide there's $5.2 million to be used in the renovation, plus another $3 million, but we have to match half that, so we'll need to raise $1.5 million, which I'm confident we'll do. So we'll have about $8 million to renovate Reynolds, which is the building that gets just a lot of use because all of our STEM courses are there. Anything that has to do with science or mathematics, chemistry, physics, all those things are in that building. It's just used day and night, so it really needs the updating.
And it's one of the originals too.
It's one of the first ones. That's true.
It's been here for a while.
And it's been added on to at times. So it's time that we gave it a facelift and really made some functional changes. And in the meantime, we purchased the mobile units that Joplin High School used when they were at the mall.
Right. Okay.
And those are being connected right now. So in the spring, we should be able to move into those temporarily. That will inconvenience students for a little while, but we should be back in the fall, back into Reynolds, we hope.
That's something you have to plan, is how can we do construction and still continue with classes and giving them labs and opportunities for those classes?
Well, that was a real issue. I mean, how do you close labs and renovate them at the same time? Where will students go for these labs? And fortunately, one of the you never want to have a tornado, but one of the things that came out of it
one of the
was
results is these rooms are available.
They were there, and we were able to purchase them at very very low price because FEMA wanted to get rid of them.
They were surplus, according to the government.
They were, and they're sealed up and they're in great shape. So we did very well with those.
Great. Well, you mentioned contributions and people supporting Missouri Southern. I know in the past we've talked about budget and financial matters, and people are probably still curious. How is Missouri Southern faring in today's financial world, the budget and so forth?
Well, we're doing better than we have in the past. In fact, my interim year, the first year here, we had a $2.3 million budget deficit cooked in, but we cut that in half before the year was over. We had about $1.3 million budget deficit the next year, but we cut that in half also. This year, it looks like clearly we're going to be in the black and moving forward. So I'm very, very pleased. It's been a combination of a lot of people working very, very hard, and I think it's starting to be the payoff of this open book management and the kind of the great game of education that we've talked about, where people see how they impact the bottom line. And a lot of folks have done some great work in saving money and generating new revenue, both. And both those things come together to put us in the black.
So when you say the great game of education, it's just starting on the Missouri Southern campus, really.
It is, but the concept was introduced early, and so people have learned that, wait a minute, we're going to open the books and look, and hey, for real, we do have some issues. And people started thinking independently about how can we control costs and increase revenues and on both sides. And controlling costs is obvious, but increasing revenues really has a lot to do with retention and retaining students, and we're doing better at that. So, and recruiting new students. Right. I mean, because we're more tuition driven than we have been in the past. I mean, if you back up 25 years, universities, regional universities like us, we're about 70% supported by the state. We're at 43% now. So the tuition has to make up the rest of it. That means we need more students. And so our faculty have been very, very creative in how they've been able to create programs that are attracting students.
And so bringing more students in and helps the bottom line, basically, too. You're able to say we can afford to do these new programs.
It sure does, and kind of argues for why we built the quads and why we're trying to do things. That's why we need more parking.
Right, looking at that. Now, the aspects of changes for revenue, on the revenue side, you're looking at more creative ideas, ways. I know the Foundation's always been a big supporter of Missouri Southern, continues to look for sources for you.
Absolutely, the Foundation does a great job for us. In fact, last year was a fundraising record too. So this year they've raised the bar for themselves. They're going to be a hard act to follow because they did so well last year. But no, they do a great job. I have a great foundation board. We have a great board of governors that has a terrific vision for the university. And I think, everything's just set in place for us to really explode.
A lot of things still on the horizon. We've heard about a dental school opportunity for Missouri Southern down the road.
In cooperation with UMKC, the University of Missouri at Kansas City, who has the dental school for Missouri, public dental school, there is an opportunity potentially to expand their operation on our campus in a partnership agreement. Where I think they would enroll somewhere around 15 students per year. So they'd end up with, 60 students over a 4-year period. But that wouldn't happen until 2018. So the curators for the University of Missouri asked for some money this year to start their process working that way. And we're going to put a request in the spring for some money to make the moves that we have to make.
So it has to be a real cooperative venture to make this happen.
It does, and there's a lot of things that have to happen on our campus to make that work out, because we would need to move some people around in departments, and we don't want folks to. We want them to get a better spot when they move, not just an equal spot. So that's the kind of money we'll be asking for.
So things kind of fall in place, and one thing has to happen to develop the others.
Yeah, there's several dominoes,
Domino effect. In dental school, but we've also heard about a medical school coming to Joplin and Missouri Southern. I know the foundation recently supported it with a generous financial support, and the university is working very closely as well.
Yeah, there's no question. They're coming for sure, and they intend to enroll their first class in 2017. We have some very exciting conversations going on with them on some unique programs that we might be able to cooperate on. Maybe some joint faculty appointments. They've came and met with our faculty. And something I think is just really exciting that students in high school should start thinking about is an accelerated program, perhaps, where they could start into their med school classwork in the 4th year if they come through our pre-med courses, and something they called Yours to Lose, which is really an exciting thing. You would be given a med school entrance appointment as you entered our pre-med program. And if you went through the steps of our pre-med program, you go right into the med school. So
it's kind of a guaranteed you are part of our program.
Guaranteed spot, yours to lose. And I think that's kind of a unique but interesting way to look at it. So, and some guaranteed spots. And we're still negotiating about how many of those might be. A couple dozen, I think.
The opportunities that students they don't have right now, if they go through a pre-med program, they've got to look, where am I going after here at Missouri Southern?
Yeah, that's right. And this would be something that they could plan for. As long as you stayed on track, it's yours. And that's not, I don't think that's ever happened in the history of medical schools. So
it's a unique agreement.
It is a unique agreement, it really is.
Now I know in a recent interview with the mayor of Joplin talking about the economic impact of bringing a medical school to Joplin as well. So this is not just an educational venture, it's tying into economic development for the city.
Oh, no question. It's going to have a huge impact. I mean, they're going to have 150 students per class. There'll be 600 medical students in our city, and it'll take 4 years to get there, but they'll make it. I have no doubt about that. And then the faculty that they're going to bring in, and all the equipment they'll be purchasing, all of it's going to be a big deal. But we have quite an impact on the local economy also. And in fact, we had an economic impact study that we'll be releasing in September, probably at our September board meeting. At least that's what we're thinking. We have it, and it looks very impressive, so we want to have the right forum.
And that really ties in that community tie with the university, that not only the graduates who are going out to work, but just how much Missouri Southern plays a role in the local economy.
Yeah, and it plays a bigger role, I think, than people think. You know, when and we have the numbers. I don't want to.
Right, we don't release them now.
I don't want to release them yet because Brad Hodgson will kill me. But it's an impressive amount that each student it contributes to the local economy, and not just the student, but the faculty and staff who are paid. And many of these dollars are new dollars coming into our community because they're federal student aid dollars or they're state appropriation dollars. So it's not like the same dollars that we're just passing around between each other. These are new dollars coming to our communities, and not just Joplin, but the whole Jasper County and Newton County area, the early tri-state area.
Trying to talk about regional.
Really regional. Sure is.
You mentioned employees. Missouri Southern, when you look at what Joplin employs, we have some of the largest numbers of employees as far as major employers in the community.
I think we're probably 5th or 6th on the list, something like that. But we have the best employees no matter where we are. We're number 1 on that list.
Well, I know this past year the Board of Governors had to deal with the budget and gave the employees a small increase in pay. So that's one of your challenges, as well as being able to reward the employees.
Well, it is. It was, 1% increase is not what our employees deserve. They really deserve more than that, but it's all that we could afford, and it was not zero. So that's a good thing. Hopefully, we'll be able to do better in the future as we see the budget improve, which I believe, I'm certain it is this year, and in the future too. With a great game, we'll figure out how to do better.
And you have a faculty senate, you have a staff senate, you have a student senate, so you have these vehicles for those different operating bodies, I guess, of the university to communicate with administrators and with each other.
We do, and we're trying to create a really kind of a new way with the University Council, which will be probably we plan to meet in September, maybe October now, because we've got a little bit of we're kind of wondering who's going to be faculty senate.
Trying to determine the members.
Yeah, not sure who they're, but they're at the table then. We're going to expand the President's Council from the current 6 to 21.
Oh,
So we'll
okay.
have representation from the faculty senate to the president and the president-elect, and 2 representatives from the staff senate, the president and the president-elect, and then several different offices on campus, financial aid and admissions, and places that really should be looking at the operational policies and procedures that we promote on campus, rather than just 6 people sitting around the table, because there's so many times that we come up with an idea that, okay, we really need to do this, but we have to go check. And so it's another month, and you have to check somewhere else. Well, if those people are at the table, then we can do business and not make mistakes as easily as we make them now.
So the people who are dealing with those topics on a daily basis will be there to consult with you and be able to
right
say,
there. So what do you think?
what do you think, and working together. So is this a new way of governance for universities?
I don't think so. I think it's kind of pretty common, actually. In my experience, certainly our nearby neighbors, they have like 17
on the council.
On the council. Some have more, a few less. I'm used to working with about 15 to 20, and it gives you really have to get the cross section of campus that way. So I think it'll work. It'll take us a little while to figure out how to transition through those things.
Right.
Really, the only thing that people have to do to participate well is to take off their particular hat and look at the university as a whole. So when people come to the meetings, that's the agreement. You have to be looking at the whole university, not just trying to advocate for your own interests. And everyone's agreed to do that. So
really tying into that theme of teamwork, which goes into that great game of education, everybody working as a team.
There you go. And exactly. And the University Council will act as the top huddle for the great game.
Okay.
So that's where the reporting structures will go for the scoreboard, so we can keep our eye on the number, critical number.
So for faculty and staff on campus, they can anticipate finding out more about implementation of the great game, their involvement, what their role would be in the semester.
In fact, I just recorded the thing with URM yesterday on the great game to introduce the training modules that are coming up. So that'll happen later this fall.
So stay tuned, as they say.
Yep, stay tuned.
Another thing that you mentioned at the Board of Governors meeting recently was CQI, or Continuous Quality Improvement. And that's something that's been around for a few years, but it's an ongoing program as well.
Yeah, that started, as a program prioritization, and then we morphed it into CQI. And out of all those recommendations, we've probably implemented about 75%. There's still 25% or so that either had to do with restructurings that were going to take a little longer, or some of those things required new money.
Right. You can't do it without the money to support it.
to enhance programs. And as much as we'd love to jump on those, we didn't have it. And now we're starting to have a little bit. So we'll keep working on that. And that's a greater report on CQI will be coming up and probably be woven into the great game, actually.
So they all kind of overlap. What you do on one will affect another.
And I think it's all going to eventually end up in the same spot.
Now, you mentioned, of course, the importance of the students and academics for the university. It comes to the classroom. Your feelings about what we're doing and serving the students in the classroom.
I couldn't be more proud of what happens in the classroom. I think that I put our faculty up against anybody, anywhere. They do a great job. No matter if you're coming here to get a degree and go to work, maybe in business, go into banking, whatever, great job. No doubt they're doing a great job there. If you want to go on to graduate school, we're placing people in graduate schools all across the country in different programs, pre-med, pre-vet, pre-engineering, and just on into PhD programs everywhere. So, I think the proof's in the pudding, and our students are doing a brilliant job.
And the faculty giving their time to the students. And one of the things that has always been a draw in Missouri Southern is faculty get to know the students. Do you feel that still exists, that people are having that
I think
one-to-one?
that's the special part. Faculty become mentors. Besides, they're not just teachers standing up on a podium somewhere. They become mentors to the students. And as they send them off, you see these Facebook connections. They still keep track of them.
Right.
And, the students come back and visit and want to know about the faculty members. It's really a warm feeling for me to know that we have that kind of faculty that care that much about their students.
And of course, education changes at all levels. We've read about what's happening in K through 12, higher ed as well, technology playing a role, maybe restructuring. How the old approach of, like you say, someone lecturing to a crowd isn't the same as what it used to be.
No, it's not the talking head. It's the guide on the side now. That tries to help steer students with so many more resources. I mean, it's difficult to stay current now with the resources that the faculty members have at their disposal. But our folks do a great job of being right at the cutting edge of what's next and being able to present the material in ways that are most effective for students today. And it's being a little tough because we do have some returning students who maybe aren't as technologically savvy, so you have to mix all that, and they're all very patient about it and making that work for them.
So as people adapt and change, I know with their television station, part of the Department of Communication, you teach a speech oral communication class differently than it was 10 years ago with a larger section.
That's what you had to go, that was your piece of course redesign, I think, a few years ago.
So, there are different approaches in using electronic textbooks, things that people maybe haven't had in the past.
Yeah, and we're seeing more and more of that, actually. The whole idea of it, our textbook rental program, it was a great draw. It's still viable, but there's so many things that students have to purchase, even with a rental book. They'll have to, because the textbook manufacturers have
add these things onto it, right?
Materials, it's kind of expensive, but for the student, I hate that. But there's so much good material there, just great material that we didn't have in my day.
Right, mine either, as we look back at the past and working that together. Well, your role as the president, I know you work, of course, on campus, but you communicate a lot with the community. You go out and visit civic groups, you go to Jefferson City. As you travel around the state and maybe go to Jeff City, what are people saying about Missouri Southern when you go to those places?
I hear good things, certainly in both places. I do enjoy locally more than Jeff City, I'll be honest with you. It's a long drive and it gets a little old. But we're hearing good things. In fact, people seem excited. They're energetic, and I think the thing that really reinforces it in my mind is how they jumped behind these programs and donated money to make sure that we could get buildings built. And we have this matching
campaign for what you need to do with rentals, right?
Yeah. In fact, we had another matching program you may not even been aware of with the foundation. They took the foundation took some of their own money, put $200,000, and said, "Look, this is undesignated money that we will match local scholarship dollars. If you give $10,000, we'll match it with another $10,000 and put it in a..."
So you'll have this $20,000 account, basically.
Right. So they took $200,000 to do that, and it was snapped up in about 6 weeks.
Great.
So we have to go find some more money to do it again because it went very, very well, and that gives us more money to help students. And it just tells you, I think, that people are, they put their money where their mouth is, and that really speaks volumes for what they think of our university.
So they're investing in education when they give money to programs like that?
They absolutely are, and I've always looked at donor relations that way. It's more of an investment than it is charity. We're not out here asking for charity. We are a charitable organization, but that's not why we want people to give. It's because they're making an investment in the university and an investment in the future in these students.
I know you've had a chance to work with students over the years, and you talk about faculty and keeping in touch with the students. How do you as president feel when a graduate comes back and visits with you as an alumni member and say, share their feelings about Missouri Southern?
Well, sometimes I feel old because some of these students have kids that are almost students of their own, But no, it's a very, very rewarding feeling. To have someone come back and say, well, here's what I'm doing now, and then their lives turned out well and they're successful, and I just don't know, what else is as rewarding as this. And I guess most people feel that way about their jobs,
right?
But we get those kind of things all the time. You get them, I'm sure, people coming in that maybe 10 years ago you had in class, and they're doing very well, and it's just something special about what we get to do. We're very fortunate.
So you're really feeling this quote, I think, a teacher impacts a life forever. You're seeing that through what people are doing at the university.
Yeah, absolutely. You've heard the old story about the old man throwing the starfish back, and you're not going to save them all, but it matters to them. Well, what we do is we don't just change that one starfish's life. We may change a whole family and futures of families. So that's what's really great to see, is how it changes. We have a lot of first-generation students that attend Missouri Southern. They don't have a history of higher education in the family, but once they graduate, they do. And the expectation for the next generation will be to graduate.
You're going to go to college and you're going to graduate as well.
So that's just a terrific thing, I think.
And while they're here as students, Missouri Southern does have support programs for those students, or any student, actually, to help them. You say we have a record number of freshmen. Obviously, the goal is you want to have a record number of seniors in 4 years.
Absolutely, and that's what I said at convocation. The convocation is a welcome, but it's only a bookend ceremony to commencement, and that's what they really should be focused on, is graduation, and we want to get them through. And we just have a series of things, tutoring and counseling and all kinds of things to help them, and each professor will help.
Right.
They're very, very good to help. I was talking to the students this morning, and a student writer for the chart, and I think we'll probably see something on retention in the chart, because now we're starting to see students want to help students, which is a really terrific idea, and we'll support that any way we can, because we want to see, it's really important that students graduate, because dropping out, as I told the young man this morning, can be $1 million mistake. Because in lifetime earnings, a college graduate, on average, will earn about $1 million more than a high school graduate. So it's important that you get through, not just start, but finish.
See that end line,
Yeah.
finish that at that end line, and
Absolutely.
so forth. And so for Missouri Southern and for the community, then more graduates mean more skilled labor, more skilled leaders in our
Everything
community.
gets better. We just got to get them focused on graduation. And again, the convocation talk is that I've used for a couple of years, and probably will continue to, is that for years, the freshmen sitting in front of me have been told, you need to go to college, you need to go to college, you need to go. Well, that's good advice until today.
You're here now.
You're here now. You need to graduate from college. You need to graduate from, and that's where we need to. Participation is not the goal. Graduation is the goal, and we just need to keep their eyes on that end product, which is commencement, so they make it. And hurdles will happen, but we can't let those hurdles become barriers.
Right.
We just need to help them get over the hurdles and move on.
And of course, giving them the medal that we saw in the video that they will be able to wear when they walk across the stage. Imagine it's going to be rewarding as president when you see somebody. You had that when you were a freshman. Now you're walking across the stage.
Absolutely. We just started that, so we haven't got those yet. But
That
I'll see
cycle's
them.
coming
They'll
through.
be
You'll be
coming.
seeing them.
They'll be coming pretty soon. Yeah.
Along those lines. Well, overall, your goals for this year as president? What would
Well,
like to know?
this year, certainly, we want to get the Reynolds Hall renovations completed. We think that that's, it has been a top priority. It continues to be a top priority. On the academic side, we have Dr. Paula Carson, who I'm sure you'll have on a program at some point, our new provost. She's doing a great job, but helping her get integrated into the system, which she's already doing. She hit the ground running. Dr. Hodson, Brad Hodson, who's came over, who we brought in from across the state line, doing a great job with the foundation, watching what our whole group is coming up with, and then watching this university council and seeing how the great ideas are going to flow out of there in the great game. I think the goals that I would set would be selfish. I think the goals that we will set as a group,
As a university?
will be very beneficial. I've already heard some great ideas, but I'm going to let that come out of the group.
So look forward to talking to you in May when we're coming up in graduation and see how things have progressed this year.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great year.
Great. Well, Dr. Marble, I'd like to thank you very much for visiting and sharing some information with our audience
No, it's
today.
my pleasure. It's great to be here, Judy. Thanks.
You're welcome. And I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for joining us this week on Newsmakers. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope you can join me again next week at the same time on the station. We'll see you then.